Just beat it!
Hey everyone, Brian with the ENC Protection Group here. Today I want to discuss how the state of North Carolina defines security guard and patrol, as well as the unarmed and armed guard training requirements to become a security officer in the state of North Carolina. So let's start off with, how does North Carolina define security? So North Carolina defines security, the security guard and patrol license. So we can cover that in a separate topic on a different video, but there is licenses, licensees, registrants, certifications, and endorsements. We'll cover that on a later video, but security guard and patrol is the license for security guard work in the state of North Carolina. So North Carolina defines security guard and patrol. It refers to a person, firm, association, or corporation that will provide a security guard on a contractual basis for another person, firm, association, or corporation for a fee or other valuable consideration, and perform one or more of the functions of a security officer. So let's talk about what are the four functions of a security officer. The state of North Carolina defines the four functions of a security officer as this: prevention or detection of intrusion, entry, larceny, vandalism, abuse, fire, or trespass on private property; prevention, observation, or detection of any unauthorized activity on private property; protections of patrons and persons lawfully authorized to be on the premise of the person, firm, association, or corporation that entered into the contract for security services; or control, regulate, or direct the flow or movement of the public, whether by vehicle or otherwise. So let's deep dive into those just a little bit more. This first one: prevention or detection of intrusion, entry, larceny, abuse, vandalism, fire, or trespass on private property. Prevention, observation, or detection of any unauthorized activity on private property. Again, a pretty common one. We're there to prevent any unauthorized activity on the client's site. Protections of patrons and persons lawfully authorized to be on the premise of the person, firm, association, or corporation that entered into the contract. We are there to protect the people that we are hired to protect. Okay? And this last one: control, regulate, or direct the flow of movement of the public, whether by vehicle or otherwise. That is the four functions that North Carolina defines as security guard work. Now that is defined for both unarmed and armed guard. Nothing changes based on unarmed versus armed for what the functions are. All right, so let's talk about what is unarmed security in the state of North Carolina. The state of North Carolina, an unarmed security guard is simply a security guard that does not carry a firearm. They are allowed to carry tasers, handcuffs, batons, OC spray. They just cannot carry a firearm as an unarmed guard. The PPSB, or Private Protective Services Board, is who governs the private protective services. So private investigators, security guard and patrol, private guard dog service, things like that. That is the board that governs these private protective services. They do not have an emphasis on less than lethal weapons. So they allow you to carry less than lethal weapons as an unarmed guard. PPS does not require you to be certified on these less than lethal weapons to carry them. It is always advised that you go through the proper certifications and trainings to avoid both criminal and civil liabilities when it comes to carrying these items. But the state of North Carolina and PPS does not require training on them, and they view them all as less than lethal weapons, and they are not a firearm, so you are allowed to carry them. This also extends to burner launchers. It is a more popular one right now, so little pepper ball guns. That is an unarmed function. Guards can carry burner launchers and everything else. So yes, unarmed guards can carry just about anything they want to, as long as it is not a firearm. The differentiation between armed and unarmed is armed carries a gun. All right, it's as simple as that. Armed guards are allowed to carry a gun. So let's do a short dive into the training requirements. So for an unarmed guard in the state of North Carolina, you must complete the 16 hours of unarmed guard training. The first block being security officer in North Carolina. This will give you a background on the registration process, as well as some of the short ins and outs to become a security guard in North Carolina. Background requirements, residency, ages, everything like that is covered under security officer in North Carolina. The second block is the legal issues for security officers block. This is a block that dives deep into what you can and cannot do as an unarmed security officer or an armed security officer in the state of North Carolina. We talk about definitions for certain crimes. We talk about use of force. We talk about detention. We talk about powers of arrest. We go through all this in the legal block. The next block would be emergency response. This is how to respond to many different types of emergencies, whether they be natural, man-made, medical. The next one would be communications. This is a block that teaches us all about how to talk to the public, how to talk effectively, and how to get our point across in a way that makes sense for what we are doing. The next block will be patrol procedures. This is how we do our patrols, we make our rounds, what to look for, how to do these things. The next one will be field note taking and report writing, how to take notes and how to write proper reports. And then the last one will be deportment. And we're not talking about the ICE deportment here. We're talking about how you carry yourself as a security officer in the state of North Carolina. Now, this is a 16-hour training course. This is usually done over 2 days. And the state of North Carolina allows you to do it both in person as well as over Zoom. This is a very nice portion because we can sit there and we can have training all over the state. Somebody can log in on their computer or laptop, watch it over Zoom, get all the information they need, ask questions that need to be asked, all from the comfort of their home.